Now I see it recording. Good evening. This is the
Clerk,
Dundee
can you hear
Township.
me?
We can hear you. You're good, George. This is the Dundee
The
Township.
audio is breaking up very bad.
Okay, we can hear you. All right. This is the Dundee Township Trustees regular meeting. The time is 7:04. This is Wednesday, August 19th, 2020. I'm going to read the following public notice. This meeting of the Dundee Township Board of Trustees will be held via telephone conference call in accordance with the Illinois Governor's executive orders and disaster declarations regarding the COVID-19 pandemic. The general public were given an opportunity to request an audio meeting login and password prior to 5 p.m. on Wednesday, August 19th, 2020. Governor Pritzker signed Senate Bill 2135 into law, which addresses electronic meetings during time periods when the governor has issued a disaster declaration, like the situation we are in now. Pursuant to this new law, the township board meeting will be conducted by audio and video conference without a physically present quorum of the Dundee Township Board because of the disaster declarations related to COVID-19 public health concerns affecting the township. Pursuant to the new law, I, Patricia A. Glees, Dundee Township Supervisor, have determined that an in-person meeting at the township building with all participants is not practical or prudent because of this disaster. The township officials, legal counsel, and the township administrator will not be physically present at the township building if that is unfeasible due to this disaster. This meeting will also be audio and video recorded, it's a combined thing, guys, and made available to the public as provided by law, and all votes will be by roll call. The video for this meeting will be live by Monday, August 24th. With that, Mr. Block, may I please have a roll call?
Okay. Attending remotely, Trustee Schaffer.
Here.
Trustee Johnson.
I don't think he can hear.
George, can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
We can hear you, George.
I can't hear you at all.
Can you hear Bob?
About every fifth syllable.
Okay. George, would you like to try to log back in again? I'm going to grab my phone and I'm going to text George and I'm going to see if he wants to log back in again. Just one moment with the roll call. George is holding up a note that he can't hear us. Zoom. All right, let's see if he sees this.
Or does he want to mute his computer and dial in by phone?
That's what I'm asking him right now. Bob, I'm directing you to make a note and show it up on, if you can. Oh, that's not going to work either. My note, he can't see my note. I don't know if you can see my text. See if you can get.
Not working.
Hang on.
And I'm on by phone. Can George hear me?
I don't think so, because he's not responding.
He's not responding. Okay.
Okay, hang on.
That doesn't work if the video background blocks you out, Trish.
Okay, hang on, I'm pulling that out.
Okay, back it up just a little bit.
Okay,
He's going to his phone. Reminds me of going to pay the bills and then they ask you for a 6-digit security number off your phone and I got to go find the phone.
yeah.
Pay the bill.
For the recording, we have a technical error with Trustee Johnson's, he's not able to hear us. We can hear him, but he can't hear any of us. So I am not going to stop the recording. The recording is going to continue. However, there will be no township discussion until I authorize open office manager Block to continue with roll call.
Anybody hear me?
Mike, we can hear you. I can't see you, Mike, if that's a concern.
I hear that.
I can hear him now.
Right. I don't think we're having a problem hearing him. I think he's having a direct problem hearing us.
Trish, when I dialed in, I had to enter my passcode a couple of times to get to the meeting. Because
Okay.
they asked for like the meeting ID, passcode, and then like password, but I put in the
Passcode again.
passcode twice.
Yeah, that probably, I don't know if that's because people are coming in or.
I'm just wondering if George is having difficulty getting in by.
Hang on,
Yeah,
I'm going to text him just you used the dial by location, right, Ken?
Yeah, I dialed the number, then I did the meeting ID and then the passcode twice.
Okay, let me send him this. Yeah, he's having that problem. Here he comes.
The host. You cannot listen or talk until the host releases the hold.
George, you have to turn the sound off on your computer.
How do I do that?
feeding back. Okay.
Right, now you're good.
Can you
Okay,
still hear me?
we can hear you. We can hear you, you're perfect.
Got it. Okay,
Okay.
good to go.
Okay, yeah, hang on just 1 minute. You're 332, right? That's your last three
Yeah.
digits? Yep, okay. I just want to make sure I don't mute you at any point. All right. Office Manager Block, please continue with roll call.
Trustee Johnson,
Present.
Trustee Aherns,
Here.
Trustee Harney,
Here.
and Supervisor Glees.
Present.
They all are attending remotely.
Okay, seeing that we're all here, we will continue. Trustee Schaffer, can you do us the honor and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Here, I'll take myself off mute. I
Thank
pledge
you.
allegiance
To
To
the
the
To the flag
of the
of the
United
United
States
States
of
States of America,
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 to the republic
of
To
the
to the
for which
republic,
it stands,
for
which
which
it
it
stands,
stands,
one nation,
one
under
nation.
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
liberty and
with liberty
justice
and justice
for all.
Perfect. Thank you very much. With that, you have the agenda in front of you. It was posted on the website. I need a first, and I'm looking for a motion to approve or amend the agenda as presented. I need a first and a second.
Trustee Schaefer, so moved.
Do I have a
Johnson,
second? I have
Johnson.
Trustee Schaefer, Trustee Johnson. Do we have any discussion? Seeing no discussion, could I please have a roll call or a voice vote?
Okay. Trustee Aherns,
Yes.
Trustee Harney,
Yes.
Trustee Johnson,
Yes,
Trustee Schaefer,
Yes.
Supervisor Glees.
Yes. Okay, seeing that that has passed, we're going to the first set of minutes. I am looking for a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes from the July 15th, 2020 Board of Trustees regular meeting and amend or approve as presented. I need a first and a second.
I make a motion. Richard Aherns.
Trustee Aherns, thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second Trustee Harney.
Trustee Harney. With that, I open the floor to discussion. Do we have any questions? Comments?
I have a correction under, and I don't know what page it is, Bob, I'm sorry. But I reported on my conversation with Mr. Seitz.
Oh, yes.
And that left out was that I had done calculations myself and figured about 20% of the township's operational budget and about 21% of the township's salary budgets were dedicated to open space, and that I felt that was a reasonable amount.
Okay. Are there any other comments on the minutes? Additions?
You know, on the minutes itself, and it's happened the last couple of times, the very beginning where it says who's attending remotely and who is there in person, the trustees are listed twice. We're listed as being there in person, and we're listed there as being attending remotely. That should be, it's like the same thing every time, so it just needs to take out a computer buff.
In the minutes or on the agenda? It's on the agenda like that purposefully. But it's not, I'm looking at the minutes. I don't see it twice.
Oh, okay, maybe it's
minutes.
not on the minutes, but
Okay.
it shouldn't, no, okay, that's right. It's not, I'm sorry, it's not on the minutes.
Okay. Is there any other discussion? Okay. Seeing that there is no other discussion, I am looking, I'm going to close this discussion topic. I am looking for a voice vote to amend the minutes per Trustee Harney's update of 20% payroll. Sue, I'm sorry, I didn't write it fast
Bob
enough.
has it down, I'm sure. And if you don't,
Okay.
Bob, I can tell you what I said later. I know what I did.
Okay.
So,
I'll just need a voice vote on that, for that amendment, and then we will have another voice vote on the approving of the total minutes.
well,
I'll make the motion to approve as amended.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll second.
Trustee Schaffer and Trustee Harney. Thank you very much. With that, could I please have a voice vote?
Supervisor Glees,
Aye.
Trustee Aherns,
Yes.
Trustee Johnson,
Yes.
Trustee Harney,
Yes.
Trustee Schaffer.
Yes.
Thank you very much. That passes with 5 yeses. I am now looking for a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes from the July 29th, 2020 Board of Trustees special meeting, but special budget meeting, and amend or approve as presented. I need a first and a second.
That is what we just did.
No, this is the July 29th, 2020, the special budget meeting. We just did we did July 15th first.
Well, we did that, and then we did the other one where Sue made her amendment to the special budget hearing.
No, the amendment was to the regular minutes, Ken. Because we wouldn't have
Okay.
discussed that at the budget meeting.
Okay.
Okay, I need a first and a second.
So moved.
Okay, I'll move that we approve the special budget meeting minutes.
I have Trustee Johnson. Do I have a second?
Second, Harney.
Trustee Harney, thank you very much. At 7:21, I'm opening up the floor to discussion. Is there any discussion? Okay, seeing that there's no discussion, I'm going to close it, and may I please have a voice vote?
Trustee Harney,
Yes.
Trustee Aherns,
Yes.
Trustee Johnson,
Yes.
Trustee Schaffer,
Yes.
Supervisor Glees.
Aye. Okay. With that, I am looking for a motion to approve or amend the treasurer's report through July 31st, 2020, and the financial statements through August 17th, 2021, along with a review of the bank statements. Can I please have the motion?
Move to approve.
I have Trustee Harney. Do I have a second?
I'll second it, Johnson.
I have Trustee Johnson. Trustee Schaffer, are you in a position where you can pull a bank account number?
Yeah. So let's
Please
do
do.
the open space fund 1418.
1418, thank you.
$35,602.74.
I
Do I have-
concur.
Thank you very much for the concurrence. Okay, any other discussion about the treasurer's report or the financial statements? Seeing no more discussion, can I please have a voice vote roll call?
Trustee Schaffer,
Yes.
Trustee Johnson,
Yes.
Trustee Aherns,
Yes.
Trustee Harney,
Yes.
Supervisor Glees.
Yes, seeing that has passed, we shall move on. Let's start with reports, and in no particular order other than the way I see you lined up on my system. Assessor Bielak, can you unmute yourself, and do you have a report? Assessor Bielak, we cannot hear you.
was working before.
Oh, we heard you now. We heard you now.
Yeah, we're busy just starting to work our appeals. The appeal deadline was August 7th. We're just getting the appeal, well, the county's getting the appeals in, and they are putting them on their SharePoint. We're downloading them to our system. All the evidence isn't in yet, but we're prepping the files. We have approximately 200 appeals total. That's about 100 less than last year. There's about 115 commercial appeals. That's less than last year, but it's still through this. Every year we go through the process.
Assessor Bielak, you're breaking up. Every other word is all we can hear. And I'm going to hate to make you start that over again. All I heard is 100 of something.
Hear me better now?
Try it again.
Can you hear me better now?
Yes, we can hear you better now.
For some reason, well, with. Okay. We're working on our appeals here. On the 7th deadline. All the data, all the appeals were.
You got to come down from outer space there. I can't understand.
I don't know how much closer I can get to this thing.
As close as you are now, you sound great.
Great. All right. This will be just short then. I'll start again. August 7th, appeal deadline. And that, I say the appeal deadline appeals to the Kane County Board of Review, which we have to defend our assessments or come to some agreement to revising the assessments. There's about 200 total appeals, commercial and residential. There's about 15 commercial, industrial, mainly industrial properties. Only, I think, 2 hotels appealed. I was kind of surprised and relieved, actually, because those are the ones hurting most right now with all this COVID. Also, the staff has gone out for training. Training is starting up again. Some of it is virtual, some of it is in person. 2 of the staff went out to Rockford, I believe it was last week. And it was very, it was a good class, good accommodations. They were very socially distanced. Everybody had a table to themselves. And the classes were good. Our hearing should be starting about the 3rd week of September, and they should finish up at the middle of October. I also have some class that I'm enrolled in down in the southern part of the state that I may have to cancel because it is becoming a hot spot. So I may have to change all those accommodations and try and find another class. That's about it. We're coming into the office. We're still a staggered staff. I do have one person that's been there for the past 3 weeks answering the phones, and that really wasn't necessary because we can answer the phones remotely also. But we're keeping socially distanced, putting our masks on when we're near each other. But other than that, things are working out, and we're doing our usual dance with appeals.
Okay. Trustees, are there any questions for the assessor? Trustee Harney?
Yes, the postcard that I sent you a copy of, did you notice an increase or anything from that?
Well, actually we did. It was that group and another group, and they really targeted residential. They didn't send any to my house. I didn't get one, no. But I know we've got at least appeals because of that type of literature that goes out in my subdivision alone. We're really starting to push the limits as far as our assessments go on residential. You know, yeah, we got some tough times ahead of us trying to defend some of these assessments because of these big factors.
Okay.
And that postcard, was that a third party? Can you give a little bit of information on that for trustees that did not receive it?
Sorry, I should have done that. We received a solicitation in the mail. It was a postcard, and it was from a company, and I don't recall the name of the company, but they told us that we should appeal our assessment, told us we would save almost $500 a year, and what the deadline was and instructions on how to do it. It was, and I actually copied it, or made a screenshot of it and sent it to Mike. We received it on Monday, the Monday before the deadline, and clearly it was targeted at various houses, and it was individual information. They said they gave us an amount of money that they felt they could save us.
So purely a third party
Yes.
company, unsolicited. Okay. Okay. Anything else for the assessor?
Just a quick question, Mike, can you just, you were breaking up, what were the number of commercial appeals?
115.
Okay, great, thanks.
Okay. Anything else for the assessor? Okay. Highway Commissioner Sinnett, can you unmute yourself, and do you have a report for us?
Yes, I'll give you one.
Thank you.
So, as usual, mowing, trimming, and all that stuff. And then that big storm came around, and that just buried us for about 6 days. And everybody that I know of is happy, and life goes on, and we're back to mowing again. So it was a crazy 6 or 7 days. And today we installed a culvert, and we've done some ditch work also in between. Constantly cleaning the trucks in the shop for COVID stuff, and it kept us real busy for this last month. That's about it. I think that's it.
Trustees, do you have any questions for the Highway Commissioner? Okay.
Yeah, Richard Aherns, you're going to touch on that letter you sent us, or email you sent all of us?
Trustee Aherns, that is not a public discussion at this point.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments? Okay. Thank you very much, Highway Commissioner Sinnett.
All right,
thank you. Do I have a cemetery board report?
No.
Thank you. Open space, you all received the open space report. I'm just going to highlight a couple of things. The typical ongoing maintenance, the mowing, the cutting the brush back, some landscaping, plants of concern have been out, and we're waiting for the targeted at Dixie Briggs, the targeted numbers, for the plants of concern. We did have storm damage to trees. A lot of them, some hazard sites where trees had fallen across the trails. Salamander Springs has lost power twice. And ComEd has done their thing to get that corrected. It's been ComEd's repair work as opposed to us. We do have a tree on the property that the township owns on Richardson. It's a lot that was exchanged way back when. It is leaning over some electrical lines, so we do have a quote out to Davy. I have not received a full quote yet. but you know, since we've been notified of it per TORMA, that becomes, you know, we have to correct it, which we will. I will, of course, give the quote to TORMA and see if the insurance will pay for it. We've got, you on page 4, you see some of the storm damage. We are putting out construction horses, for lack of a better term. I'm not exactly sure what to call them, but to keep people out of trails that are blocked at the moment. We had a big tree down at Wahoo Woods. So that was one of the first things we got to. What we did is we cut the logs up and left them for the kids to play with, roll over, discover bugs, you know, essential habitat that we normally do. We've completed the landscaping around the township building, including cutting hopefully some of the most common troublesome weeds. We've put some fresh mulch in, and we have tacked up or put stakes in the ground to help the prairie docs from leaning over into the driveway section where people seem to love to hit them. Let's see, that's primarily it. I did my walkthrough last week or the week before was Raceway. Still seeing a lot of bikes in the Doan's Corner section. I spoke with Kirby. We're going to do a little, because they're we've got a do not enter bike type section there already, but we're going to look at maybe changing or putting some bigger boulders, which will allow people to still walk and hike, but make it difficult for bikes. So we're tackling that a little at a time. While out there, I did see a couple people who were on bikes, and they apparently had no clue. They were very nice when I explained to them where they could ride and how they could get to the Camber trails. However, they had all parked in the Kane County Forest Preserve parking lot and came through the Camber trails. So I reached out to Mike Angus, who is the Camber leader in our area, to just kind of remind people, you know, where the Camber trails are for them. Everything else is for horses, dog walkers, runners, hikers, etc. So that's probably, well, I guess I did my report and open space all together, so I might as well just finish my report. We are ordering, we're continuing ordering our PPE supplies, our personal protection equipment for everybody in the township. And our new, the $92 million from Kane County. I just received the application process, which is going to be handled by a third party. So Bob and I will start working on our past receipts, expenses, and kind of estimate where we're going or what we're going to need for the next through December of 2020. And that's all I have. Do you have any question on either one of those reports, since I slammed both of them together, and I'm sorry?
I do.
Go ahead, Sue. Wait, just 1 minute. Repairs. George, 1 minute. Go ahead, Sue.
We need trail repairs at Jelke. I gave you guys the locations over a month ago. And I walked there again the other day, and there's severe erosion. It has to be fixed. Right.
And there's a back order. We're having a backlog at Lafarge where we would get our rock from.
There's no other place to get the rock? Because the fabric is exposed.
Okay. I will.
It's like a foot deep.
I will figure something else out.
Okay.
Trustee Johnson. Oh, wait. I'm sorry. No, Trustee Johnson.
Go ahead. I'll wait again.
Okay. Trustee Johnson.
Yeah, this is kind of good news about open space. About the week before last at Dixie, we encountered 2 young ladies, and they were monitoring monarch butterflies. And I assume that this is connected to the grant we received some time back to establish an environment for monarch butterflies at Dixie. So they were very informative on what they were doing, and we bribed them with an offer of iced tea to stop by the house afterward and explain what they were doing, and it was very interesting. And I very much look forward to seeing any report of their activities. They were laying down a transect with PVC pipe, a rectangular area, and counting lots of stuff. Not sure any more detail beyond that I'm aware of. And I'm glad to see that there is a follow-up on the Monarch program.
That is correct, yeah. And we have not received that report yet. As soon as I get it, I will share that, just like I do the Plants of Concern report. I'll make sure you all get a copy of it.
Okay.
Back to Trustee Harney.
Yes. I wanted to know how many folks we have on GA at this time, and are we, how close are you to opening up the emergency assistance program again? It's not in operation right now. Is that correct?
Correct. We are as long as evictions. So the way we have been directed is that as long as evictions are in place and utilities cannot be disconnected, there would be a stay of execution. Carpentersville has now started, it will start September 1 with disconnecting water. So we will start servicing any EA requests associated to Carpentersville water. And as other disconnections come in play or the stay of evictions happens, we will then start, EA back up again. So our first preliminary EA or our EA for Carpentersville water will happen on September 1st, unless the board makes a change. All other boards have voted to hold off disconnections till after the first of the year. So Carpentersville could make a change.
And
Johnson, I have another question.
Wait, I'm sorry, George, just 1 minute. Go ahead, Trustee Harney.
How are you interviewing people?
Right now we have everything is phone interview. It gets dated and then it's put into a folder and we're reversing them, as,
Okay.
It's a first come, first served basis.
Okay.
Trustee Johnson.
I saw some things, I believe, in the paid bills file on a new receiving area for EAGA. What is that and where is that?
That is on the first floor. We made an agreement with East Dundee where they're not charging us. We cannot let people into our building due to the small staff between the assessor's staff and us, where we cannot control where people are walking, touching, etc. So the part of our $92 million, which we're not getting 92 million, but part of the COVID CARES request through Kane County is to pay for that room. Essentially, we put up fire exit signs and closed off part of the hallway, which can be taken back down when we're done with this, so that we can protect our staff. There's a plexiglass and a wall. So essentially anybody requesting EA would come in the east door. It's the brown door, if anybody's familiar with it. They would have to be buzzed in. So we're not, just not the public, it's by appointment only. They would come in the door. They would be handed the application. They could fill out the application. We would then take everything, and we would take their paperwork, and if they are approved, we are just going to, we would, just as we normally would do with an EA, we would write the check. The difference is we're going to be mailing all the checks because I'm not letting the checkbook from a control standpoint out of my office. So every bill, that had to be paid has to be run back up to my office.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions?
Trustee Schaffer, just a
Go ahead.
question on the tree that was over the electrical.
Yes.
Is that something that ComEd would take care of because it is affecting their line?
One would think so. However, these lines are not on the road or on the road and bridge or the highway commissioner's right of way. These, if you thinking about Richardson, we own a lot there. And I want to say, just off the top of my head, it's a quarter lot. The transmission lines run along Richardson, but there's also transmission lines to down the lot property and then across to the next owner. Though the transmission lines that are running east-west or west-east is where this tree is hanging over. And so ComEd said, nope, that's our problem. Because it's off the road.
Does ComEd have an easement there?
They do not. So think of it as the old farmer, you know, or the old roadhouse. They're most likely there would have been a house or a hunting cabin or a fishing cabin on there, which no longer exists, but the transmission lines still do. And the house north of us uses those transmission lines. So it becomes our responsibility.
Johnson here. I think the same thing was the principle at Salamander Springs a few years ago when the transmission line from the road fell into our lake on the way back to the house on Salamander.
Right. Right. Once it leaves, they call it the fuse. Once it leaves the fuse, it is our responsibility. And the tree is in danger of falling. The tree hasn't fallen. But the tree is entangled in the lines, and none of our staff is capable of handling this. I mean, it requires a bucket truck, etc. So our only choice is to, you know, go out to a third party, which is generally Davy Tree, to have this removed.
Understood.
Okay. Any other questions for open space or my report? Okay, seeing none. Do we have a report from the clerk or the deputy clerk?
No.
Do we have an office manager report?
No.
We do have Kane County Board member Keos on the phone. Chris, would you unmute yourself, please, and give us a report if you have one? I'm looking for you to help. Up there, I found you. I'm going to ask you to unmute. Okay, maybe there's not a Kane County Board member report today. Okay. Trustees, do you have a report? Do any of you have a report? I see two of you shaking your head. I don't hear from two of you.
No.
Okay, with that, let's move on to public comments. Public questions are limited to 3 minutes per person, limited to 15 minutes in total. However, since we are on Zoom, I will, if it goes over 15 minutes, because many people want to talk, I will allow, it will be allowed. The supervisor, clerk, assessor, highway commissioner, and trustees will not respond to questions during public comments period. Any follow-up comments will be made at the discretion of the elected official. I will, I start in no order other than the order I see. And the number that I'm starting at is 122. I'm going to ask you to unmute and give us a comment if you do, or a public comment. If you have none, just say pass. seeing that
Did you have to
person.
unmute, Trish?
I asked them to unmute, and since they have not unmuted, I'm going to give it in a minute.
They're on the phone. I thought you had to unmute.
I have to ask them to unmute.
Okay.
Phone, right?
Yep, they are on the phone, and my only request is to ask them to unmute. All right, 858, I'm going to ask you to unmute and give a comment if you have one.
Trish Glees.
Mr. Chris, hold on 1 minute. 332, do you have a, I'm sorry, yeah, 369, that's you, Chris, right?
Yes.
Chris? Okay, do you have
Yes.
thank you. Do you have a comment for us?
Well, I hope it's easier to give the comment than it is to get off mute. Boy, that was tough.
Sorry
I've been
about
working
that.
at it for a couple minutes here. That's not a problem. Yes, I have a short, and I'd like to thank you for having me here to present something. The part of it will be just to touch on the $92 million that's being distributed to the Kane County for the through the CARES Act, through the CARES Act Allocation Committee in the Kane. I just want to confirm that you have received paperwork for the township, and you had said that you did, right?
Right, I received the link from the third party and am working through it, yes.
Great. I don't know that includes, and my impression from the last CAC committee meeting, that did not include the road district. And it sounded to me like they were not inclined to include the road district in that, but if a strong argument could be made for that, then they could be included. So my suggestion is for Mr. Sinnett to make sure that that's the case and make sure it's submitted correctly to the CAC committee. There's a, right on countyofkane.org front page, there's a link to the distribution and an explanation of how the distribution is going, and an address to send questions in to ask about. But make sure that you make contact with them to make sure that the road commission is involved in that.
Yep. The
second was that the Energy and Environment Committee have just been presented with the draft presentation of the Solid Waste Plan 2020. And that's how the solid waste and the recycling will be handled for the next 5 years as a plan. The final draft presentation will be made at the Energy and Environment Committee at 9 a.m. on 9/11, and it will be open to public comment. All public comments that are submitted will be included in with the final draft of the Solid Waste Plan 2020, and that will be it's open for comment from 9/11 through 10/26, and the 2020 plan for solid waste will be finally adopted on December 8th at the December 8th meeting of the full board. Third thing on the agenda is Solarize Chicagoland, and I'd like to thank you for allowing me to put up signs for a joint effort to help residents of Kane County get solar power on their houses. It's a cooperative with the CUB, the Citizens Utility Board, Cook County, Kane County, DuPage County, and Will County in an attempt to promote the solar energy and the adoption of solar energy. And you can find out more information at solarizechicagoland.org. And finally, the Transportation Committee last week approved the agreement with A to B USA, a limited liability corporation of Downers Grove, for the collection system for the Longmeadow Parkway tolls. So that is on the way. And that was the pertinent information that's occurred at the county just recently. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions? Okay, seeing no questions, thank you very much. I'm going to put you back on mute. All right, our last person is 711. Do you have any comments for the board, the supervisor, the assessor, or the highway commissioner? This is interesting. I'm going to ask you to unmute, and we're going to wait a minute because I understand that it is difficult.
Trish, you have to give instructions on how to unmute the phone.
I'll be honest with you, this is a new thing. I used Zoom earlier this morning, and I did not have this problem. I was able to unmute everybody. I honestly don't have a clue. All I can do is press a button now that says ask to unmute. Bob, can you look at your screen and tell me what you see?
Well, I have a mute.
Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Bob.
My screen on the computer has a mute button up on the top, but I don't know what it is for a phone call in.
Yeah. I'm going to give 711, which is Mr. Kempf, just a minute or two to see if he can unmute himself. I've pressed the button to ask all to unmute it. It's still not working. Mr. Kemp, if you can hear me, I'm going to put you back into the waiting room and I'm going to pull you right back out. Hold on. Let's see if this works. Mr. Kemp, can you hear me? Putting him into the waiting room and pulling him back out, it still says ask to unmute. Suggestions from anybody?
Do we have a number to call him on the telephone? And would he pick up or?
I believe that's the telephone he's using. And I only know the last three, sorry.
Oh, okay, so, all right.
All right, I'm going to continue. If Mr. Kemp at 711 is able to unmute himself, if he would just say excuse me politely when he comes in, we will stop our next portion of the meeting. With that, public comments are going to be closed. It is 7:58. I am looking for, under new business, I'm looking for a motion to review and approve the renewal of the Dundee Township Electrical Aggregation Program. I need a first and a second.
We have to specify who the contractor is?
Well, I will as soon as we get to a first and a second.
So moved.
Okay.
I have.
You heard Johnson for one?
I have Trustee Johnson from one and Trustee Harney for two. With that, I'm going to bring on Jim Belden. And Jim, were you able to unmute yourself? You
yes,
did.
I am.
Perfect. Excellent. Thank you, Jim.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jim Belden. I'm the consultant, the energy consultant for Dundee Township. I've been working with the township for approximately 4 years, and as we've gone through 2 different cycles of contract terms for electric aggregation. And for review, the electric aggregation program is allowed by the Illinois General Assembly through legislation that they had passed to allow townships, municipalities, villages, cities to aggregate residential and small commercial load, and to come to see if the aggregated price can be more attractive than going out to the market as an individual for third-party supply, or even to remaining on ComEd. So the township supervisor had asked me to go out, solicit proposals for a new contract that would start up in November of 2020. And I went out and solicited pricing from 4 suppliers who are experienced with doing this type of work in the ComEd area. They were MC Squared Energy Services, Dynegy Energy, AEP Energy, as well as the incumbent, who is Constellation Energy. I asked them to provide fixed pricing for various terms, either a 12-month or 24-month, and see how that would compare against the current ComEd prices, as well as taking a look and benchmarking against the trailing 12 months of how ComEd prices actually applied to the marketplace. And the current ComEd rate that will be in effect starting in October will be at 7.13 cents for electric supply services. So with that benchmark, I had asked the suppliers to come up with an apples to apples quote that would be able to compare against that ComEd rate. Dynegy and Constellation both quoted prices that were above that rate. They were close to 7.28 cents for Constellation and close to 7.2 cents for Dynegy. And with that, I felt like those were no longer appropriate numbers, that if we could not get a proposal below the ComEd benchmark, I don't think that would be something we want to consider. MC Squared and AEP Energy came back with quotes that were below the 7.13 cents. MC Squared came in at 6.75 cents for the 12-month offer, 6.73 cents for a 24-month offer. AEP had similar prices to MC Squared, but I talked to them today and they had indicated that the pricing that they had provided was not what I would call executable pricing, and that they had to do some additional work to figure out what a proposal would be. So with that in mind, again, I felt that AEP Energy was not in a position to provide executable pricings for discussions for tonight's meeting. And so I have ranked them from the standpoint, the best opportunity is MC Squared, and then Dynegy, AEP Energy, and Constellation are really not in the running for consideration. The looking at the difference between a 12-month and 24-month rate, they're very, very close. And I almost am inclined to recommend going to a 12-month quote and keeping an eye on pricing to see if we can do better come the early next year. And I think that what we've seen in the last couple of weeks, last 3 weeks, we've seen a little bit of price strengthening in the energy markets. And a lot of it has to do with what California is currently experiencing, with some rolling blackouts because of extreme heat and a lack of electric power that's needed at certain times of the day. And I think that has caused the overall market to come up, as I've seen in monitored pricing for the last couple of months. So I think from my standpoint, I would recommend for the township to consider a 12-month term at 6.75 cents with MC Squared Energy Services.
Okay. Trustees, do you have any questions for Mr. Belden? He's answered, he gave us 4 quotes. I agree with the MC squared is our best option. As far as the other three, you know, in ranking. The 12 months we've had, and Jim, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Belden, we've had an 18, we've had a 24, we've never had a 12 month. So we would be revisiting this again next August, right?
Yes, and what I would do, Trish, is start to look at, right after the new year, work with MC squared to provide indicative pricing starting at the new year, and see if we can benchmark that to a point to get below the 6.75 cents.
Okay. Trustees, any questions?
Schaffer?
Yes,
Yeah,
Trustee Schaffer.
Just a couple of things. I know that I believe the last time we did this, we were potentially looking at joining with either Kane County or someone else to maybe get a little bit better price break. And I just don't know where and when those contracts are coming up. So that's my sort of my first comment or question. And then also there's been some recent news on ComEd as far as their competitiveness, and some of their long-term contracts are coming to an end. So they were just having discussions of whether or not their pricing may go down. But my impression is that they will not offer a fixed rate, that they adjust their rate regardless. I'd just like to comment.
Sure. Coming to ComEd, there is no change with regard to how ComEd formulates prices for sales service. They all of the utilities, ComEd and Ameren, will get contracts from the Illinois Power Agency. And this is a state agency that holds annual energy procurements. And they'll go out, solicit proposals for various blocks of energy, and they will gather this pricing and these contracts and then allocate them to ComEd. So ComEd no longer is a supplier of energy. They simply take the contracts that Illinois Power Agency assigns to them and says, here, you calculate out what will be the prices for the various rate classes that desire a fixed price from the utility. So nothing has really changed in the way the protocol works. Every year, every May, there'll be a new price established from ComEd. So ComEd is truly very passive when it comes to the pricing of electricity. They have a mechanism where they can either, they have a monthly energy adjustment, so they never make more or less than what they're expected. They're expected to simply be flat with regard to not losing money, not making money when it comes to the sale of electricity. They make all their profit, all their money comes from the delivery of electricity. Now the question with Kane County, I just looked at the Illinois Commerce Commission's sheet, and it looks like Kane County is under contract until next summer, till next August. So that may be an option to consider at that time. And certainly I can explore that and see if there's benefits of going along with Kane County and seeing if there is some way to benefit with a larger aggregation.
Okay, thank you.
And Mr. Belden, as far as, and this is really only affecting the unincorporated areas of the township, a unincorporated resident has the right to opt out or opt into the program, right? They are not forced on, this program is not forced on them.
That's correct. And
okay.
and we'll go through the process where everyone will have an opportunity to get notified about the program, and everyone has an opportunity to either join in or, as you say, can exit the program. And the contracts with MC squared, any resident in the unincorporated area is allowed to enter or exit the program at any time without any cost or any penalty.
Right. Okay.
Aherns here. How does that affect anybody with solar power?
I think when it comes to solar power, my advice would be for because of this issue of net metering and the ability to sell power back, it may be actually cleaner to stay with ComEd when it comes to the aspects of net metering.
Thank you.
Johnson here. Looking at the numbers as I understand them, this is no reflection on you, Jim. I'd be a little embarrassed to go out with an announcement that Dundee Township has arranged a program that will save them 1/10 of 1 cent per kilowatt hour, if I understand the numbers, that is. What are our options if we don't want to do that?
Well, I think that I agree with you. Looking at the way I calculated it out, the difference between 7.13 and 6.75 is roughly around a 5% reduction. So
I'm looking at the wrong numbers then.
Yeah. So I think that I agree with you. I would love to present something that would say it's a 10% reduction, and I think that's why my recommendation is for a shorter term contract as opposed to a 24-month contract. And,
Jim, let me clarify here.
Mm-hmm.
Let me clarify the numbers that we've been furnished here. I'm looking at a proposed fixed rate for MC of 0673. Is that one correct?
It would be 0675 for the 12 months. Yes.
Okay, and then further on it says that ComEd averaged 0685. Is that correct?
The price for the new price, when I say average, that would take into account the pricing from May 2020 through May 2021, and that's what averages out to be that 6.8 cents. The rates are bifurcated, in which the summer rates are less than the non-summer rates. So when I look at the applicable rate that will take effect when we take service with MC squared, the effective rate of ComEd is the higher non-summer rate, which is 7.13 cents.
So the difference between 0.685 and 0.675 is 1/10 of a cent.
Right.
Okay.
And the difference, I'm looking at it from the standpoint of, well, what are the options for a resident come in November when they could choose either to stay with ComEd at 7.13 cents, or they can go to MC squared at 6.75 cents. So again, that is a matter that says we're not doing any harm. We're not asking a resident to sign up for a price that's higher than MC squared. And if at any time they're dissatisfied with the price, they can certainly go back to ComEd and be served at the 7.13 cents.
Just as background, why are the numbers not more competitive? Is there something in the energy industry that's happening?
Well, and I think again, it's a matter that says the way ComEd is procuring power through the Illinois Power Agency, it's a matter that the pricing in the market has been relatively soft. So ComEd is procuring power on a short-term basis, unlike a few years ago where they were locking into 5-year contracts and finding out that 3 years into it that the market price had dropped. And I think that's where we saw some very big savings going back to 2012, 2014 with these municipal programs. Right now, the difference, the deltas are pretty slight. So they're not as good, but there is some benefit nevertheless.
Is 12 months the shortest option?
It is probably for all intents and purposes, yes, it's because of the amount of work that's necessary to get these programs up and running through. Every time we do a new contract, we have to do mass mailings. We have to provide accounting for a 21-day period to opt out and account for that. So there's a lot of work involved in trying to run the municipal aggregation programs, and traditionally a 12-month is a short-term deal.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Are there any other questions for Mr. Belden? Okay. Seeing that, can I please have a voice roll call?
We need
What's the motion?
modify the motion to specifically call out.
I'm sorry, that is correct. I'm looking to modify the motion or approve the renewal of the Dundee Township Electrical Aggregation Program for 12 months using MC squared at 0.0675. I need a first and a second.
Trustee Schaffer, so moved.
Harney, second.
I have a first and a second. Now may I have a voice vote? Sorry about that, guys.
Trustee Harney,
Yes.
Trustee Aherns,
Yes.
Trustee Johnson,
Yes.
Trustee Schaffer,
Yes.
Supervisor Glees.
Yes, seeing that, there's 5 ayes, that now passes. Thank you very much, Mr. Belden. I will be getting back to you or continue your work to start moving us towards the new aggregation program.
Thank you, Trish.
Okay, have a good night. I'll be muting you again.
Bye, Jim.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Right.
Okay, before we move on to audit the bills, I'm going to try to see if I can undo 711 for public comments. I'm asking Tim to unmute one more time. Okay, I do not see that we are successful. I'm sorry about that. I am now looking for a motion to audit the bills and approve the bills. Oh, dang it. I'm sorry. I'm missing that part on my agenda. I'm sorry. Yes, let's review. Thank you. Thank you, Bob, for keeping me on track. Let's review the slides. You got 2 sets of slides in your packet. Bob, can you do me a favor and, because I have to bring them up, can you talk through the socials, the first one?
Okay. There were 3 charts that you should have gotten. The first one was looking at the breakdown of social service expenditures year to date, total of $65,288. And it included the riding cane program, which is funded by the town fund versus the general assistance account, and shows the breakout of the expenditures in the various categories. Then to compare that, there was a second slide that showed just the breakout of the social service expenditures, and there should have been one.
Yep, there was. Year-to-date GA fund only.
Year-to-date, just in the GA fund.
And that one was 36,267, and it shows, you know, all the medical insurance as Trustee Johnson wanted to see it, or Trustee Schaffer. One of you wanted riding cane, one of you wanted medical, but then breaks down everything else.
And then the third slide simply showed you the annualized riding cane program cost beginning in fiscal year 2011 and going through the current year.
Okay. And as we talk about riding cane, last year in 2019, about July of 2019, PACE went out for bid with a new provider. The new provider was substantially more expensive than the provider we had. However, they had a better record of on-time pickups of an overall better service. So that is what PACE went with. The Paratransit Board did not have any control. The board throughout 2019, the third and fourth, the actual fiscal year, calendar year of third and fourth quarter, because that's what PACE works on. We complained, and PACE, because they did not let us know about it, PACE ate the cost from what we were expecting to pay versus what we were paying. So they picked up what we called the overage. That stopped in March of 2020, just as COVID hit. As COVID in Kane County is still is actually trending upwards, and we are on the warning list and not doing well. Riding Kane usage is fairly low. I mean, so where you look at fiscal year 2019 to 2020, we are probably going to be significantly lower due to the fact that many of our JARC riders and many of our seniors are not using the service because they have, they can't go anywhere. They, doctor's appointments are, and this is something that particularly a senior set talked to me about, is that one of the downsides with the Riding Cane program through COVID, although they were, the bus service was actually on time because they were only picking up one person. The problem is doctors' offices are not letting you into their waiting rooms. So they were getting pushed off the bus and would have to stand on, outside the door because they couldn't be let in. And if they had an express temperature or something, an elevated temperature, they weren't allowed into the doctor's office. Riding Cane, wasn't coming back for them for an hour and a half. I mean, so as the board knows, I sit as the Paratransit Council chairperson. And so I've sat on many meetings with PACE and AID. And unfortunately, we don't really have good answers. So, you're going to see less rides, at least right now. And I don't right now see a foreseeable uptick. So unfortunately, the 2021 fiscal year is going to be extremely skewed as far as our numbers are concerned. Any questions about the 3 graphs that you received?
Yes. Johnson.
Which one would you like to talk about, Trustee Johnson?
Let's start with Riding Cane.
Okay.
Looking at this, it looks like the costs have doubled since I got the graph up in front of me.
You're looking at the bar graph, correct?
I'm looking at the blue bar graph.
Yep. Okay. Thank you.
The costs have actually doubled since 2013, and this creates the impression with me that this is out of control. And I know we've made some decisions through our own generosity to increase the rolls and take people off the waiting list and so on and so forth. But in the context of our current budget struggles, this simply can't go on. And I would like to propose that the township board create an initiative to find a way to cap this at around somewhat arbitrarily $50,000 per fiscal year.
Okay, so then Trustee Johnson, as the administrator of the Riding Cane program, can you tell me if we cap it at 50, who do I say can't ride? Because ADA requirements, I have to let every JARC rider ride. So what seniors do I tell?
Glees, I don't wish to solve the problem tonight.
Okay.
I wish to create an ongoing initiative to solve this problem.
Okay.
Go
ahead, Trustee Harney.
Can we hear from Kurt on this? Because I spoke with him at a meeting a while back about this very issue. And
who's Kurt?
Kurt
is our attorney.
Our lawyer.
Oh.
And Kurt, did I understand you correctly when we spoke about this, that it's either all or nothing because we can't discriminate against, like at the end of the year, say,
let's not find ways to think of things that we can't do. Let's spend our time thinking of things we can do at some other board meeting, which is a constructive way to spend our time.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Do we have any other comments on the pie charts?
Yeah, the pie charts are great. I would like to take it one step further into the area of almost, you could call it metadata, which is to combine the whole social services pie with the rest of the township on an annualized basis. And that in itself would reflect a strategic plan, quote unquote. In other words, social services, the way it's graphed right now on an annualized, not just year to date, plus open space, plus cemetery, plus administration, plus assessor, and see what all that looks like, so that when people say we're spending our money in the wrong places, let's get that pie chart out and say, where would you think it should be placed? Okay. Where should the emphasis be?
George, those were on the pie charts that we provided in July of 2020, on July 29th at the special budget meeting. Are you saying that you want to go back to those pie charts? You want more information into those pie charts?
Well, those pie charts needed to recombine, as I recall, ride and cane with social services.
Right, you wanted us to move ride and cane out of its own pie slice and put it into social services.
Correct.
But I mean, everything was, if you look at those at the July 29th meetings pie charts, everything that you've just asked for was there. I'm not exactly sure.
Well, how about this? How about if you would email me a copy of the chart that you say is what I'm asking for?
Okay. Bob, can you please make sure that Trustee Johnson has the two charts, the two pie charts from the the July 29th meeting?
Oh, wait. Let me, I still have that in my email. You don't need to do that. I can go back and see it.
Perfect. All right, thank you. All right, if you could look at that, Trustee Johnson, and then just give me a clearer image of what you're looking for.
All right, thank you.
Trustee Schaffer, was that you speaking?
Yes, I was just going to say, I think that in the July charts, the ride and cane was a separate entity, social services was separate. I think
right. Those are different pie charts.
Yeah, he wants to see the information that was presented tonight as social services sort of as a piece of the entire budget. So instead of cane, ride and cane separately, social services would be how much of the budget. So,
okay. Okay. We'll okay. Any other comments on the pie charts? Okay, seeing no other comments, I will then continue with auditing the bills. And bear with me while I pull the bills up. Do you guys all have the bills in front of you? Do you have, I'm looking for a motion to approve the bills as audited.
So moved.
So moved, Johnson.
I have Trustee Harney first and Trustee Johnson second. With that, I open up discussion. And Bob, can you do me a favor? There were bills added and I can't see them at the moment. Can you tell us what those extra bills were? There were like 4 of them.
There were 5 additional bills. I sent that out this afternoon. Just by summary, there was a bill from Roadway Towing for the annual safety lane inspection of one of the open space pickups. That was $40. There was a bill from Menards from open space for a clear acrylic sheet, 2 tubes of caulk for $36.96. There was a bill from Cafe Roma for the food pantry for 2 cases of individual cereal boxes. That was $86. There was a bill from Prairie Farms, again for the food pantry, for 150 half pints of milk for $32.87. And then finally, the ComEd bill for the township office for the service period of July 15 through August 13 for $540.91. Total addition of $736.74.
Okay. Trustees, do you have any questions about the bills as they've been presented?
Aherns here. How come we got so much computer expenses on here this time?
Okay, I need to, what page are we looking at? And
a whole
so
bunch
that
of them. I'm looking at page 1. There's a Crone computer service. Page 3, T&G. There's just a lot of, there's a whole bunch of them on here.
Okay, Richard, okay, yeah. By way of it, the Cerrone one is the consultant that handles the assessor's office, and that was for creation of some new forms for their appeal and their record keeping. And then the bulk of the other ones is TG Consultants. It's the annual renewal of the various email accounts with required legal record keeping and the Microsoft Office programs for all of the individual computers we use for Word, Excel, Outlook, etc.
There was a big difference in some of them. Like the cemetery, I believe, was only, what, $195?
Yes, that was for a single computer, where the bill under the supervisor's office was for the supervisor, my desk, our 2 caseworkers for Kirby's office here. So multiple copies at our location.
Okay, I'll buy that. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Mike, I have, Assessor Bielak, I have one question on yours, and it could just be the way I'm reading it. I see here under your credit card, 53 meals during a training session for $16.30. Am I reading that wrong?
I saw that too. I didn't enter that. I think Bob entered that, so I don't know what the 53 meals is.
Hold on, let me get over there.
It's on page 1, Mike, Bob. There's 63 and then there's 89.
The first number that always shows up and then the space, that's the invoice number. So that was check 53 for his meal during training session, not 53 meals.
Thank you. That's I just needed that clarification. Sorry about I just Mike.
Because if you look below that, there's one for 89 meals, so he would have been eating somewhere around 142 meals.
Well, yeah, that's what I wasn't sure if it was like the entire staff or something. So, okay,
Yeah.
I have no other questions. Any other questions from the trustees?
I'll be devil's advocate and throw this out. I don't know if any questions on Mike's legal bill. There were questions last month. That's in the bills again. Are we all good with that?
Don't we have to pay that? We don't have a choice, do we?
No, we don't, but people wanted to discuss it or think about it. So just making sure everybody had a chance to discuss it.
Okay, on Road and Bridge, and Scott, can you answer this question? And you've probably answered it in the past. Why do we pay ComEd for streetlights?
I don't know why we pay them for streetlights, because they're on our property, I guess. They've been doing it ever since I started. That's what.
Okay.
I'm not quite. I don't really have a better answer.
Okay,
We've been paying it ever since I started.
Okay, you know, whatever. Okay. That always pops up, and it always throws me off. Any other questions? Okay, seeing that there are no other questions, may I please have a roll call?
Trustee Harney?
Yes.
Trustee Aherns?
Yes.
Trustee Johnson?
Yes.
Trustee Schaffer?
No.
Supervisor Glees?
Yes, seeing that there's 4 yeses, the bills will be paid. I have no budget transfers in front of me. There was a request for executive session. Trustee Schaffer, do you still wish to go to executive session?
Yeah.
Okay, with that, we do have Carrie Lynn Kafer who has joined us, and I am going to start putting the public into the waiting room while we go into.
Can we do our motion first?
Yeah. Oh, shoot. Yep, I need a motion. Thank you, guys. I need a motion.
So moved.
I have
no, wait, we need to specify in the motion what the purpose for the closed session is. So we have to make sure it's one of the reasons under the Open Meetings Act.
Okay, Trustee Schaffer, you wanted to go.
So the only item on the agenda item says that discuss probable litigation, and that encompasses a whole lot of things, I believe. So I motion to enter executive session to discuss probable litigation.
Okay, I need a second.
Second, Aherns.
Okay. With that, I'm going to put the public.
I'll vote.
Okay, can I get a roll vote? You're right. I'm sorry, roll call.
Trustee Harney?
Yes.
Trustee Johnson?
Yes.
Trustee Aherns?
Yes.
Trustee Schaffer?
Yes.
Supervisor Glees?
Yes, seeing that we all agree, I am now going to put everybody into the waiting room. Kurt, can you tell me your last 3 digits, please, Kurt Ashford?
I'm here via Zoom.
Oh, you're here via Zoom. Thank you very much. All right. So hang on 1 minute. Yeah, I am just verifying. Trustee Johnson?
Yes.
Trustee Aherns?
Here.
Bob is here. Trustee Schaffer?
Here.
Sue and Kurt. All right, with that, I'm going to stop the recording. Okay, I have started the recording. We are back in open session. I am going to bring back the participants, starting with Assessor Bielak. Assessor Bielak, you're back online. Highway Commissioner Sinnett, you're back online. And public number 711, you are back online. We are back in the open session. Nothing occurred in executive session that is to be discussed in open session. With that, I am looking for, hang on 1 minute. Let me see. I saw, nope.
Did 711 want to talk, or can he talk?
I'm trying to let him, I'm asking him to unmute. I did see 711 come in. We know that's Mr. Kemp. He is muted. I've asked him to unmute himself. I do not see him unmuting himself. Mr. Kemp, do you want to make a comment since you were not able to make comments during the public portion of this meeting? I do not see him unmuting. I do not see him unmuting. With that, I'm looking for a motion to adjourn this meeting.
So moved. Trustee Schaffer.
Do I have a second?
Aaron, second. Aaron, second.
I got that. Bob, can you please do a roll call?
Trustee Harney?
Yes.
Trustee Aherns?
Aye.
Trustee Schaffer?
Yes.
Trustee Johnson?
Yes.
Supervisor Glees?
Yes. Seeing that there's 5 yeses, this meeting has concluded. I am going to end the recording and I'm going to immediately remove you all from the meeting. Thank you very much for your attendance tonight. Have a wonderful month. Stay safe, stay masked, and Carrie Lynn, I will talk to you soon. Bye, Kurt. Bye, Mike. Bye, Scott. Bye, Mr. Kemp.
Good night, everybody.
Night.